Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Do you like my new hat? I don't know. This is probably the second or third time you've seen it, but it's got a bear on it. Today we are back on Reddit. I feel like I haven't done one of these in a little bit, but we are sorting by top. We're sorting by this week. We're gonna see what the Reddit community is kind of chit chatting about. Before we dive in, please make sure you subscribe, leave your likes, leave your comments, blah blah. Follow me on everything. You get it. All right, let's dive in here. All right, this first one is a few days old. It says can't really defend her anymore. Just shows how out of tune Charlotte is with the fans and the business itself. So obviously they're referring to the promo with Tiffany. The reports and the discussions have come out was that maybe Charlotte was unhappy with the reception she was getting and the boos were drowning her out. She got kind of pissed. She went off script. Tiffany retaliated. Charlotte retaliated back. Charlotte, being the veteran, maybe should have handled the boos better and also handled the situation with Tiffany better. Tiffany kind of walking out, and then they had comments for each other that kind of went over the line. Apparently people weren't happy with either of them. That's just stuff I heard. Those are some sort of reports, so everything with a grain of salt. Admittedly, this is a little too real life and like speaking about like the actual person as opposed to the character than I like to get. I think this post is a good point, and I also think it goes a little overboard. I'm going to open it up and look at the comments and stuff, but to say that Charlotte Flair is completely out of tune with the fans maybe, but with the business itself, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not here to talk about different egos and whatever and who has one, who doesn't, who has a bigger one, who doesn't. But it was clear with her winning the Rumble, she was expected, and I think the plan with the company was that she was going to be a face. Obviously, it didn't work out. She's such a natural heel. People are still, on the Charlotte wins LOL thing. She does win a lot. Maybe she didn't really want to play a heel. She's kind of getting forced into the heel thing. Maybe she doesn't like being, I don't know. Again, at this point, we're getting too about the people, and I don't like doing that. We're just going to go to the comments. We're going to move on. But this comment says it's a quote from the promo. Ooh, you're so squeaky. Gave me secondhand embarrassment. Yeah, that was one of the lines that hit me. As they're sort of like interrupting and stumbling over each other's words, it was kind of like, ooh, they're going off the rails here. I don't know. We're going to move on. Like I said, I don't love just talking about talking about and assuming how the actual people behind these characters act or are in real life. And, I don't know. I think wrestling fans can put a lot of assumptions in, like, whose plan was this? Was it the writing? Did someone go off script? Like, I don't know. They're really leaning into it at this point in terms of like this segment being bad. Not that I think it was planned, but they're leaning into it. It has made the build and the story for their match a lot more interesting, I'll say that. But I don't know. Moving on. All right, this next one is a Kevin Owens appreciation post. Sick picture. The black and white with I'm just describing what you see. I'm screen recording. This is really cool. I won't speak much on it here. We kind of talked at length about it on Stash Club Wrestling Podcast, the latest episode. But something I said was, it's like the Andy from The Office thing where you don't know you're in the good times until you're not anymore. It's something like that. It's basically you don't know how good you have it until it's gone. I think I mentioned that. Like I've slowly become to realize after even the past, like I'd say handful of months, like, oh wow, Kevin Owens has been like one of my current favorites for a while. And just because he's always been so consistent and so good, you don't have that reflection moment. And I just haven't realized again what you have until now. It is kind of up in the air or at risk of not having. But yeah, Kevin Owens, one of the greatest. I saw something on Twitter where someone was like, Kevin Owens is the blueprint of a professional wrestler, especially in the modern day, but giving a lot of ode to the old school characteristics and the attitude era and the badassness while also making it relevant and modern. One of this comment says, I feel like Kevin is the Mick Foley of this generation, always willing to take brutal spots, one short-lived world title run, no one hates him, all fans enjoy his work, hope he gets a massive push when he returns. At first I didn't agree in terms of the Mick Foley. I think Sami Zayn is way more Mick Foley, but in terms of like all your reasonings, like 100%, I see Kevin Owens way more as the modern Stone Cold, in terms of attitude and his character, kind of, you can go back and forth with it, and he also got the Stone Cold rub with the WrestleMania main event, so I don't know. All right, this next one is side-by-side of Batista. It says, Batista shows his physical transformation. Wow. I'd like to know, I'm going to open this up in a second, but I'd like to know what, like, the time of this, but, like, it literally looks like the one on the left was just, like, kind of made wider. I mean, still in incredible shape in either of two. I think I heard that he's trying to lose, like, mass and muscle to kind of fit in with a more just like film actor sort of physique, I guess, He doesn't want to be like the bodyguard in every single movie. But also the amount that he's like, his face has changed. His face like slimmed down so much. That's crazy. His top comment says, Batista could have played old and young Kratos. Yep. They could have done like, what's that movie where like they filmed some of it when like the kid was a kid and then film like more of it when the kid grew up. So it was like the same actor. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm happy Batista's happy. I'm happy that he's such a good actor. He's miles and leaps and bounds ahead of a Cena or a Rock or a Hogan or anyone that's transitioned from wrestling to acting. I can't wait until he gets like a real serious drama role and kind of tap into like the emotional side of acting. I haven't seen all his movies. Maybe he has done it and I just haven't seen it. But I'm really excited for this like older Batista just be a full-blown movie star. Guardians of the Galaxy obviously kind of kicked that off for him, but I'm excited for him to play like some low-budget A24, main character or whatever. I think that would be so sick. This one says, I honestly feel real bad for Chad Gable. He will most likely be left off WrestleMania again. So what happens, it's classic, the new guys taking all these veteran spot. El Grande Americano came in and just swept the rug from our Chad Gable. Speaking about it for real though, it is kind of funny, like probably in like history books or whatever, it will probably say El Grande Americano and not Chad Gable. So like obviously Chad Gable is El Grande Americano, but like maybe like in terms of his name, El Grande Americano might be the one that you see written in Chad Gable. So Chad Gable might technically, even though looking back on it, might not be a part of this WrestleMania. That's crazy. Classic. First comment says, I was hoping to see him face El Grande Americano. That would have been a dream match. I know. It's not like ever since I saw El Grande Americano 20 years ago on the Indies in a bingo hall with 5 people, I've been like, you know who he'd go up against? Chad Gable, who 20 years ago was probably in high school, college, whatever. Our next post says, next time happened, and it throws back all the way to SmackDown. Nick Aldis said, this is $100,000. The fine is $50,000. Randy Orton said, oh, that's for next time. Long-term storytelling. That's what we like in our wrestling. That's actually pretty funny that someone recalled this and brought this back. That's really funny. I hope they say this on TV of like, Randy goes, all right, now we're all paid up. Now that's the other 50,000 due or whatever. That's funny. People are speculating maybe Orton versus Aldis. Apparently Aldis has been rumored or reported to be ready to wrestle again. I don't know. Regardless though, obviously, what happened to Kevin Owens, in terms of like needing to go out and the injury and get taken off Mania was pretty unexpected. So like, it's no one's fault. But I hope we can find a way for Randy Orton to get back on the card in some way or the other. Even just to come out and, RKO Nick Aldis the third time, get another $50,000 fine. I'd be fine with that. All right, this next post says, on this day 11 years ago, Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker and ended his streak. How was your reaction when the streak ended? I was going to kind of start going off and be like, it should have never been Brock. He should never have ended the streak. My opinion, I'll get it out of the way. My opinion, the streak should have never have ended. Again, hindsight, so 2020. Regardless though, 2020 or not, it shouldn't have been Brock. If anyone, it should have been a Bray Wyatt or someone else to come up and be, passing the torch, whatever. It didn't need to be Brock. It shouldn't have been Brock. And again, admittedly a hindsight 2020 opinion, but I don't think it should have been broken. It would have been so cool for The Undertaker to retire and have this streak intact. And it makes it, it adds a lot to his character and the mystique. It adds a lot to the mystique of the Undertaker character where he never lost at Mania. How cool would that be for the Undertaker's character to be able to say, The Undertaker, oh, I remember seeing him wrestle, and you know what? He beat him. Even when he was older, he still had this power and whatever at WrestleMania where he still beat this guy. He still beat Brock. He beat Roman. He beat whatever. It would have been cool to, I don't know, I don't have the number in my head. Whatever, 40 and whatever in O would have been really sick. 40 whatever in 2 sucks. Whatever. All right, to answer this question, how was your reaction when the streak ended? Probably similar to how it is. Bummed. I think Undertaker is the greatest of all time. That's my legend. Obviously, Rey Mysterio, my favorite, but Undertaker, I think, is the greatest of all time. It would have been such a cool accomplishment. No one will ever touch that accomplishment again. They had the opportunity to just like really bookend it and put a signed, sealed, and delivered on it. They didn't do it. Disappointing. They knew what they had at that point too. It's not like it's like, oh, it was like, when he had 12 wins and they didn't know how monumental it would be. The guy was like in it, had so many stacked up to that point. It sucks. I don't know, whatever. All right, this next post asks, is this the same guy? If yes, I am proud of my memory. I had the same exact thought. I think this guy, there's a couple other people that like, have got a little like, wrestling famous because of like their reaction or something in the arena. And this guy, I've seen him a couple times. He wears the same exact shirt. So I think people will it's a very noticeable shirt. So people see that shirt shirt and they'll clock it. Also sit next to Chris Van Vliet, shout out you, at the April 4th, 2025 when the latest picture was taken. It's gotta be the same guy. I'm about to open this. I would be shocked if it's not. They're almost doing the same pose and everything. Let's see. All right, this top post confirms it. Says, yup, he goes to many shows, both WWE and other promotions. I believe he has a legal name, but I do not know it. Brock Lesnar guy to me. Again, there's Brock Lesnar guy, the Miz girl, Smiley, the guy in the green t-shirt. It's always, in front. But like, I can't think of others on top of my head, but there are a few that know they're recognizable, and as they should, where I'm gonna wear the same shirt playing to the meme, playing to the character that I've created or got lucky enough to get in this community. But yeah, that's cool. Shout out that guy. All right, this next post is a WrestleMania 41 drinking game. Let's rock and roll. What do we got? All right, for the IC Fatal 4-Way, we got take a sip for every Braun Breaker spear. Take a sip if Judgment Day turns on Balor. Okay, I think those are pretty likely to have some sips in there. For Seth Rollins versus Rowan versus Punk, we have take a sip for every Reigns rest hold. Okay, or take a shot if Paul Heyman turns on Punk/Reigns. I guess take a shot, finish your drink, maybe. I don't know. Same, either or. These are flexible. Drink responsibly. I am not advocating to play this. We're simply just looking at a game. Drink responsibly. Do not do this. All right, for Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte, take a shot if both wear pink. Okay. Take a sip for every Ludwig Kaiser slash divorce reference. Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess they could like yell at each other like in the ring. I don't think that's going to happen much. I think that kind of happened. It didn't go over well at all. I imagine they're both told like, hey, maybe don't do that. I don't think commentary is going to play it up that much. So I don't know how much that's happened, but solid clauses. Okay. Also, sorry, there's also main rules, but that aren't just match specific. The main rules for WrestleMania 41 as a whole: 1 shot for every title change, 1 sip for every shot of pyro, 1 sip for every celebrity shown, and down your drinks. Okay, so I guess that's going to be different. Down your drinks if there's a debut. I would also add maybe return/debut to that. Those are solid. I think those are pretty solid mainline rules. All right, we'll save Cody Cena for last. We have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Take a sip for every bloodline interference. Might be sipping a couple there. Take a sip if Slim Jim is incorporated. This is going to be the Slim Jim match. There's going to be a couple of this is the Minecraft match. This is the Slim Jim match. This is the Prime Energy match. This is the Chime match. There's gonna be a couple of those. I think sip for sure for Slim Jim. I think that's a solid bet. So far, I think we're getting drunk. I think, again, don't do this. I don't advocate for this, but following these rules to a T, I don't know if you're making it to the second half of the show. All right, Rhea, Io, Bianca, take a sip for damage control interference. No, I don't know. Io, yes, is technically in damage control, but like they're pretty just doing their own thing, a little bit removed. I think also aren't people injured? Like Kyrie isn't there, Asuka's not there. Unless they make returns, surprise and debuts, that would also, if we're counting returns, also have to down your drinks for that. I don't know. The other one is take a sip every time Io is ignored/belittled. I mean, that's kind of the story. I think there's going to be a lot of, especially at the beginning of the match, Rhea and Bianca just ignoring her. So sip. All right, Gunther versus Jay. Take a sip for every new Yeet chant. Oh no, that's going to be a couple of beers. Jesus. Take a shot when Jimmy interferes. I like that this one says not if, it says when. This is a guaranteed shot of the night. If this one, my prediction is Jay Gunther goes on first. I think it's been confirmed it's night 1. But if this goes on first, we might be starting out the night with a shot and a lot of sips. So if this goes on first, it's a lot of heavy drinking. All right, Rhodes versus Cena has 3. You're going to take a shot if Cody cries. I think that's a pretty guarantee. Is it every time he cries? If it's every time he cries, that's a couple of shots. Take a shot if both get special entrances. So not just one, they're both going to get special entrance. What are we classifying special entrance? I know what we're classifying. Big hubbub, blah, blah, blah. Cena comes out to basic thugonomics. Whoa. I think that's a pretty guaranteed shot. Not as much of a guarantee as Cody crying. And then down your drink if The Rock/Travis Scott returns. Again, wow, this is a tough one. This is being the main event. All this drinking for the main event, this is when we should be fully switched to waters, folks. I'll tell you this, especially if you're following this main event rules, you're waking up hungover. You're waking up not feeling too well. Grab some Pedialyte, get some McDonald's or something, take care of yourself. Because if we're following these to a T, we're in for a doozy of a weekend, folks. All right, I think I'm going to call it there. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of all this other different stuff we went over. Let me know some more drinking. Don't let me know that. I don't know. Never mind. Please make sure you subscribe. Did I already say all this? Follow me on everything. I stream on Twitch and here sometimes. Catch up on Stash Club stuff. Catch up on everything, the rest of the channel. I want to reiterate, appreciate you being here. I'm pretty, I know I've been kind of inconsistent on here, but we're working on it. We're keeping on. And yeah, thank you as always. All right, until next time, goodbye.